Good evening, Blade enthusiasts, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Studio GDT Reviews. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at a ShadowDancer katana, this time from their Amazon storefront. And this comes at a very interesting point in time right now in the world as we navigate the situation with various tariffs and importation fees and those types of things. So the specific sword we're looking at is the L6 Cha-Ishime, which is brown Ishime saya, that is available from their storefront. It's also available on their website, but the Amazon storefront comes from a warehouse that is housed here in the United States. So right now, this is a very interesting opportunity for some people who maybe have not purchased a ShadowDancer sword before and are unaware of some of the things that they're known for, like their Tsuka shape and quality, their saya shape and quality, just as kind of an overall attention to detail. It's a unique opportunity to be able to pick up a sword that falls into that category at a reasonable price point and get it shipped quickly. And again, you're not having to deal with whatever tariff situation gets thrown at you. So if we take a look at the Amazon offering here, you'll see in the L6 category, they have quite a few different models to be able to choose from. I never have handled a sword that had a leather wrapped Tsuka or a synthetic leather wrapped Tsuka, so I thought that this would be a good opportunity to try that out. At the time of this review, the standard price point of $248 has been marked down to just under $180, which I'm going to go ahead and say this up front before we've got into any details of the reviews or what is great, what isn't so great. At $180, that's pretty insane for what you're getting right now. This is an L6 differentially hardened, full nakago, user serviceable, real Samegawa. There isn't corners cut on this that you would normally find for something at that price point. So again, with what's going on, it's a unique opportunity. Now, I would say it's probably something that you would want to act on relatively quickly, because once that inventory runs out, I'm not entirely certain how that restock is going to look like and what the price point, how the price point would change. So with that being said, you guys know what's going on in the world right now. You know how it's affecting sword manufacturers. You've probably seen the emails, act now. What we have in stock right now is going to be it at this price. Next is going to be, this much more. So you've probably seen that. If you haven't and you're new to this, unfortunately, you're coming in at a really weird time, but that doesn't mean that there aren't options available in the States for you immediately. So let's go ahead and take a look. First, the disclaimers. I'm not a professional martial artist, nor am I a professional sword reviewer. I'm simply a practitioner and an enthusiast. Some of the swords reviewed are sent free of charge as review samples. Others are purchased with my own funds. Regardless of how I obtain them, the review remains the same. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. My opinions are just that, mine alone. I'm bound to get things wrong from time to time. The hope is that when I get something right, that can potentially help you in your own journey. Right off the bat, at the price point, this would look like on paper it should be a budget sword. At sub $200, you shouldn't expect a lot, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The theme of this sword throughout is a brown utilitarian theme, and that is right up my alley. That's the kind of thing that I like. I don't really like the flashy stuff. I like the functional, kind of bland things. So I really appreciated what this sword looked like. It has all the hallmarks of a ShadowDancer sword. For example, the defined Haichi Tsuka profile. They do have, in my opinion, the best shaped Tsuka on the market. You can take a look here and you can see the attention to detail that they put in here with the Kashira and the Ito. It is directly in alignment with each other. There's no ledges, there isn't a high spot on the Kashira, there isn't a bunched up spot on the Ito. It's just blended, and they are extremely well versed in doing that. The Menuki is a quality Menuki. It is a little bit buried. It's kind of hard to see the dragon that's in there, but it is long and of a quality piece. The Samegawa that's included at this price point of sub $200 is real Samegawa. They even applied an antiquing effect of sort to it. And you can take a look at this image, and the antiquing that I've seen here is better than some natural antiquing that I've seen on Nihonto. So they've done a really fantastic job of getting this sword prepped for us. The fuchi is a large fuchi here, but it has some nice detailing, and we'll take a look at how the Ito performs in actual functionality. Now, this is my first synthetic leather wrapped Ito Tsuka before, and I didn't quite know what to expect, but I was pleasantly surprised. It has got some pretty good purchase in the hands, and it's tacky, which I think could be useful. It's not slick, at least in the initial impression of it. It stays in place relatively well. It's something I'm excited to try in class and maybe have more experience with. The Tsuka profile is in line with what you would expect with ShadowDancer. It's not overly bulky. It feels good in the hand with proper tomoto on it. The Tsuka to Tsuba to Saya fitment is also superb, as ShadowDancer is known for, and you can see here. The Tsuba has some decent antiquing to it. It is a brass Tsuba, but they've applied some antiquing to it that I think came off fairly well. It doesn't look gaudy to me. I think it differs from Tsuba to Tsuba, so your mileage may vary a little bit. I have seen some images of this, and it's not looked quite like mine. But overall, the fitment and finish of this part of the sword really hits all the marks. You can take a look and you can see the tsepa are kind of in alignment with everything and really cap this off. So far, again, for the price point, at this point, I'm just blown away by what I'm seeing here. It's quite a shock. At this price point, we don't have horn components, but you can see that care was put into the fitment of it. The wood quality is good. The cuts are good. You've got a clean looking kurigata. One thing that I thought was kind of interesting here that I'm not used to is loose shitodome, which with ShadowDancer they're normally pressed and fitted. But again, you're talking about price point here, so if that's what you got to cut it. The Cha-Ishime was done very, very well. Again, until I got a real version, I didn't know what it looked like. Standard synthetic heavy-duty sageos included, which works with it. And again, just kind of a plastic kojiri end capped on here to cap it all off. At this point, for the price point, I'm already impressed with what it is that I'm looking at. ShadowDancer's Saya profiles are fantastic. If you've owned one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm eager to go to the next step, which we'll be going into. Now that the cat's out of the bag, we can really take a look at all the special things that make this thing tick, because there are quite a few, in my opinion. As stated earlier, this is an L6 differentially hardened blade. It does feature bohi in it, which is helpful for beginning students to get that tachikaze or kurikaze. One thing that's difficult about this in the review is trying to photograph the hamon in this light. The habaki fitment was surprisingly precise compared to some other ShadowDancer swords that have cost more money that I've reviewed. So it's interesting. You can see the fitment here is very, very tight on the body of the sword here. There isn't the ledge that's present on the Munimachi that has been present in some other models. So it's just interesting that this sword doesn't have those things that are kind of an issue with some other swords. So, you know, as far as Noto is concerned, you shouldn't have any issues with that. And again, just the fitment of the Tsuka to Tsuba to Habaki is pretty fantastic on this. Taking a look at the flats of the blade, there's no ripples. Everything looks pretty good here, as it should be. The bohi is clean as well. If we take a look at the alignment on the side of the blade here, you'll start to see the hamon a little bit, and there's going to be some images further down in the review that show that there is quite a bit of things happening here, that maybe it's just the polish that is preventing them from coming out. But here you can kind of get an idea of what the sugata of the blade looks like and the sori. Other side of the blade, again, no issues on the flat there, no real ripples or anything like that, no real ripples in the bohi as well. And then again, everything looks pretty much the same on the other side. Sometimes you can take a sword and you can flip it over from one side to the other and it looks completely different, which is unsettling. So here you can really see again that they've done a great job of duplicating things on both fronts. As should be expected at this price point, the sword does feature a standard mirror polish. It does not have a high-end polish on it, which is kind of unfortunate because there's actually a lot of stuff going on in the hamon, and the hamon is quite nice. But again, this is a sub $200 sword, $250 sword. You can see here the activity is all over the place. There's really a whole lot to see here. This would be something that if you could learn to polish yourself, or you knew someone who could do it, I imagine there's probably a lot of things to bring out, a lot of characteristics and activity to bring out within this sword. So it's just one of those things where, in order to keep the price down, they kept it as a mirror polish, but the construction and the quality of the construction, there's more to show. There's more hidden beneath the surface there. So we will continue on and look at the other parts of the sword here and give you some additional opinions. If I can have a gripe about this sword, it would be the positioning of the yokote and the direction of the counter polish on the kasaki. It's not dissimilar to the new basic Musashi that I reviewed, so I think it's kind of just par for the course for some of their entry-level models. It's not going to change anything at the end of the day, but, you know, that would be the one thing that kind of does stand out on this sword as a whole. If you scroll past as this camera is panning that kasaki, it looks totally different, and then you get the kasaki in the frame and it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, I can see that this is an entry-level sword. Again, we're splitting hairs at this point. The sword does feature bohi, so tachikaze or kirikaze, depending on how you refer to it, was definitely present. Even with poorly executed one-handed swings, you can definitely hear your alignment. So some people think that this is a good training tool. Some people think that it isn't. Either way, it does do it. So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, we've taken a look at it from head to toe. There were some things that I have not seen on a ShadowDancer sword before that I assume were probably done just to reduce every last little bit of cent off the total cost of this. So I can't really blame them for doing that. I don't think it necessarily detracts from the overall quality of the sword or the functionality of the sword. And I think many people would opt to have those, I don't even want to use the phrase corners cut, because it's really not that. It's just difference in construction, right? I think some people would opt for those things to be done if it saved them, you know, $20 here, $40 there in the long run. So there were a couple of things that were, you know, a little bit different than what we're used to seeing here. There were some things that were a little bit better than maybe some of the entry-level models that we're used to seeing here. So all in all, I think it's a good combination of, you know, some of the best of ShadowDancer and some of their higher-end models and some of the best of their lower-end models. And I think the overall package, when you look at it as a whole, it's pretty fantastic for dojo use, which again, you know, is kind of my purpose of this channel, is, you know, things that you'd be able to use in class and not have to worry about failing on you in class or making you look silly or could put you or other students in danger or anything like that. And one thing I can say is, now that I've had an opportunity to have some actual Japanese Ishime saya come in, you know, I think they do a very good job with how they do that. It might not seem like it if you've never seen one before. It may seem like a fake finish, but there's multiple type of Ishime, as I mentioned earlier. This is the very tight Ishime, and it does kind of look fake or plasticky almost, but I can confirm on the Nihonto side of things, it's not that different. And they're antiques. So all in all, I think it is a ridiculous value for the money. Forget the $180 that it's on sale for right now, because that could change. Even this went up to back to $250 tomorrow. If you want something that is differentially hardened with a quality steel, with good overall, for the most part, fit and finish. A couple little things you have to tweak here and there. Good Tsuka shape, good Tsuka fit. I think it's going to be very hard to beat this now that's on the market. We're just going to have to see what happens going forward. If the store stays around, how they stock it. I, for one, and I'll throw this ShadowDancer's way, or if they're watching, I think it would be really neat to launch a US exclusive that's available from the US storefront Amazon store. That way people could get into something new, a new item, and not have to wait for the delivery time that you would normally be associated with that. And it's just kind of a direct ship, an immediate ship from the Amazon storefront. Obviously not something that's going to happen right now with everything that's going on, but once things return to normal, maybe that's something they could look at. I think that would be really neat, something that's special and drives business to that storefront, makes that storefront successful. Because as you know, there's a lot of crap out there on Amazon, and unfortunately, I think the ShadowDancer storefront in its infancy gets buried a little bit. So, do them a favor, try and search for it, help those SSOs or SEOs or whatever the hell they're called, help those out by trying to plug them in and search them, save them. If you can do that, take a look at it. And again, if you like this sword right now, $180, I don't think you'll be wrong or unhappy with it. If you are, call me, I'll buy it off you. Hope you enjoyed this review and the new ShadowDancer Amazon storefront and some of the offerings that they have in there, and we'll look forward to using this, putting it through its paces and doing some additional videos with it. Until next time, I hope you have a great weekend and happy Easter.
Studio GDT reviews are made possible by the following sponsors: